Hi guys, in this video, I want to talk about smart financial moves you should consider making if you happen to get laid off or lose your job. So let's dive in. So before we dive in, let's set the stage a little bit. If you've been following the news, layoffs abound. Layoffs are everywhere. People are losing their job. There's hundreds of thousands of people between 2023 and 2024 that have lost their job, and the trend will likely continue into the future. So if you're finding this video because you've just lost your job or you've been laid off and you're looking for smart financial moves to set yourself up for success in the future, you've come to the right place. But before we dive into some of these smart financial moves that I've outlined, remember to take a step back and take a big, deep breath. And it's gonna be okay, you're gonna bounce back. And from a personal standpoint, part of the inspiration for this video is that I've been laid off more times than I wanna admit publicly. I've worked in the tech sector for over a decade. And as you can tell from the news and recent happenings, if you follow LinkedIn at all, there's a lot of layoffs, and that sucks. However, there's some smart moves you can make financially to better prepare yourself for opportunities in the future and to help set your mind at ease during this challenging time. So what I've done is curated a list of things that you can do immediately if you lose your job and have that ability to set yourself up for future success financially, not have to worry about it as much and be able to get some sleep at night. So let's take a look at this list. Now, the very first thing that you should do if you are laid off or lose your job is apply for unemployment benefits. And that requires you to go on your state's unemployment office website and apply for benefits using the forms that they have there. And keep in mind, do this early and stay on top of it because these are governmental organizations. Some of them are run very poorly. Some of them are very slow. And you wanna make sure that you get that request in immediately. And so you can start getting benefits as soon as possible. However, one thing to note, if you receive a severance, the unemployment benefits will not start until that severance runs out. For example, if you receive a 6-week severance package, your unemployment benefits will not start until after week 6. So keep that in mind, it's not instantaneous. And beyond that, again, it's a bureaucratic governmental organization that's going to take some time. So make sure that you jump on right away and get those forms filled out so that you can get in the system and they can start processing your benefits. They'll then contact your company to make sure, yes, this person did lose their job, unfortunately, and they'll verify if you received some type of economic package in the form of a severance or something else. And then your benefits will then be coordinated beyond that point. So keep that in mind. Now, the second thing to consider is potentially pausing automatic investments. And you have to really think about it. And maybe you have it written down somewhere in a spreadsheet, but these are things that maybe you've had them automated on a weekly or monthly basis for a long time. And you got to go, oh yeah, I have $200 or $1,000 going to my IRA or a couple $100 to Fidelity or my Vanguard or my E-Trade account on a weekly basis. I need to actually take a step back because while investing is amazing and I'm always going to advocate for investing, it could potentially be detrimental to this limited pool of money that you now have because your income has ceased. So you have to take a look at what's automated into investment accounts and maybe pull that back. You don't have to necessarily shut it off completely, but you need to dial it back based on the level of savings that you have or the different income streams that might still be available to you. But just remember, if you have tons of money going outbound to investments, that becomes non-liquid and you might not be able to access it as easily should you need it, depending on the length of your unemployment. Now, the third thing to consider, ask yourself, do I have extra payments to principal going out on my mortgage or possibly my car loan on a bi-weekly or monthly basis? If the answer is yes, you may want to consider pausing those additional payments to principal during a period of unemployment or job loss. And that is pretty obvious, very similar to reason number 2, because you now have a finite amount of money in the bank without an income. And if you're paying down debt, again, which is amazing, but it's hard to do it if you don't have income coming in and you don't know when you're going to be employed again. So having an extra couple $100 go out the window every month to pay down debt, while great, is going to be detrimental to your new economic situation. So that is something to consider as well. What are these automatic payments that are going out every month that pay off debt but make me illiquid? So number 4, I would consider setting a new budget. And this one's pretty obvious. After we've taken a look at the payments that we have on a monthly basis, maybe limiting those and controlling those in a smarter way, we're gonna look at setting a new budget, because again, the income situation has either completely stopped or has changed dramatically, and you have to adjust and realign your spending habits based on this new budget. So take a look at things like, did you get a severance or some type of package to exit the company? And you're gonna budget based on that. How long can we make that last based on current expenses? Or the level of current savings, do you have a couple thousand, hopefully more than that in the bank that can, extrapolate the current situation that we need to live and the money that is going to allow us to pay our bills over this period of unemployment? Or are we possibly one of the lucky ones who has additional income streams or an ability to pick up gig work or part-time work during this time? But keep in mind, if you pick up some types of jobs, you may not qualify for unemployment. So keep that in mind. If you're someone who's a standard W-2 worker, it may be smarter just to take that unemployment benefit as you're looking for new work. Because if you report wages to the IRS and to the Economic Unemployment Office, then you might not qualify for that benefit anymore. So let's set a budget based on these things, and assuming we're not going to work during this time as we look for new full-time employment. Okay, number 5, this one is a little bit more obvious, but it's limiting your discretionary recurring spending. So we're not talking about going on vacation or going to the club or out to the bar. It's things that are attached to your debit or credit card that are billed on a recurring basis. For example, I have a Massage Envy membership, and during periods of unemployment, I have to think, do I need to shut that off? And a lot of these companies have pause features where you can maintain your membership, you're just not gonna partake in the service and they're not gonna bill you. And beyond that, what other things do you have on a recurring basis in your budget that you can cut out? Do you have a bunch of streaming services? Do you have other types of club or gaming memberships, things like that, that are on a recurring basis that you can cut out because you now need to adjust and refocus your lifestyle based on what just happened? So you need to match your expenditures to the current economic situation that you're in. Now, number 6, this one is super important, and you got to remember not to touch your 401k. If you are an American that is fortunate enough to be able to contribute to a 401k account through your corporation, that is fantastic. And you don't want to jeopardize that by doing something stupid. So leave your 401k alone. A lot of people lose their jobs and they don't have a lot of money, and so they're tempted to withdraw from their 401k or take a loan against it. And both of those are terrible options. You're going to be hit with a ton of withdrawal fees, early withdrawal fees that you want to avoid should you touch your 401k, or you'll be hit with an interest rate to borrow your own money if you take a loan against it. So both of those are really bad options. You're just gonna leave it alone. It's in the market, it's gonna grow, it's gonna be fine. The only thing you're gonna do is when you get a new job, you're gonna consider rolling over your 401k to the new provider so you can continue making contributions and growing it. And hopefully you find a company that has a 401k match at some level, and that'll really be a catalyst for growth as well. So think about using your 401k in a smarter way at the next company that you go to. In the meantime, hands off. Now, number 7, if you are finding yourself short on cash, you are in a position where you don't have a lot of savings, you don't have income, the unemployment benefits are not going to be enough, you can look at other investments, not your 401k, other investments that you have that might allow you to have a little bit more liquidity and a little bit more protection and safety during this time. So if you happen to be somebody that has invested in things like crypto, or maybe you're heavy into a single stock, you could potentially pull that stuff out and put it in a high yield savings account. So instead of the market volatility, and maybe your layoff was tied to market volatility, and so the market's going down and you lost your job. So take a step back and think, do I really want to lose all of this investment? And it's already very volatile. I'm not sure where the future lies with this type of investment that I have. You could pull that out and put it in a high yield savings. Right now, most high yield savings accounts are between 4 and 5.5%, which is amazing. So not only will you protect your money, but you'll actually make a little bit of money that could cover your weekly grocery bill or your car insurance or something else without having the risk of losing any of that money. So if that's something you're concerned about, it's a little bit more aggressive because again, you're pulling it out of the market. But on the same side, it could be considered conservative because you're protecting your money and you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that I have some cash that's earning interest and it's going to be untouched and it's not invested in the market where I could be gambling with a loss. So something to consider if you have some more volatile investments. So number 8, if you are financing anything, you may want to look at contacting these loan servicers and figuring out if there's options for you to defer payments or maybe contribute a lesser payment, make smaller minimums during this time of unemployment. A lot of people are obviously financing their houses, their cars, their student loans. Maybe they bought a big TV or something and they're financing it for some stupid reason. Don't finance TVs, buy TVs in cash. Anyway, think about contacting these loan servicers and see if there's options and if they're willing to work with you. If you remember during COVID, basically every loan servicer was willing to make deals with their customers because they were so scared about defaulting and having their customers just bail and not get paid. And we saw that in real estate and in renting and things like that. So generally after COVID, a lot of loan servicers are more willing to work with you on reduced or fractional payments or some other kind of configuration. So if you're really concerned about the money that you have in the bank and not making all of these financed payments, contact them and see what your options are. Now, number 9, this one might be a little counterintuitive or controversial, but you should pay off your credit card debt. And I'm gonna say that again, pay off your credit card debt. 1, you shouldn't have credit card debt in the first place, but 2, you don't wanna be jobless and fall behind on your credit card payments where you have a ridiculous interest rate. It's gonna be a higher interest rate than anything else you're financing. Could be 18 to 28%, and you don't want to fall behind on that, miss your monthly minimums, and then have creditors start calling you, say, hey, where's our money? Because that is going to be a catalyst for a really bad mental state that you don't want to be in. And so if you have the money, and again, a lot of people don't have the money, and that's why they're in credit card debt. However, if for whatever reason you're sitting on a credit card balance and you got a little bit in savings, pay that off as soon as you can, because it's going to help you budget moving forward and help your state of mind and peace of mind as we work in figuring out this economic situation during unemployment. But the last thing you want to have is a ton of credit card debt that's just going to be an anchor and a cannonball on your feet, dragging you to the depths. So get rid of that credit card debt as soon as possible during a period of unemployment. Number 10, if you are at a company that has granted you stock options, and there's a million different types of stock options, but at the end of the day, if you have been given as part of your compensation package some level of options that have vested now over time because you were there a year or 2 years or 10, whatever, you now have this pool of options, and if you haven't bought them or exercised them over time, you're going to be faced with this really tough decision in exercising your options, because often based on the strike price, it could be a lot of money. If you have 10,000 shares and the strike price is $1, you need to come up with $10,000, or you could buy half of them for $5,000, you could buy 2,500, whatever. But you need to come up with some level of money if you want to buy or exercise these options. And it's generally a tough decision because you're turning around and facing this company that just let you go or terminated your role, and you're saying, do I really want to invest in this company? And a lot of times, there's different reasons for layoffs, restructuring, or economic upturns, downturns, mergers, acquisitions, whatever. You have to figure out based on your own decision. I would talk with friends, family, colleagues, what maybe they would do in this situation based on the data that you have regarding this company. But you need to figure out, am I going to invest and give money back to this company and walk away with these options? Because in the future, obviously it's an investment. Could it be worth money? So it's something to consider, because to exercise your options, you have 90 days from your termination date. So you have 90 days to make this decision. And this goes back to setting a budget. And can we fit in the exercise into the budget? Do we have enough income through other sources? Do we have enough savings? Is maybe the severance is enough to exercise the options and walk away? So there's a lot of different options, but it's a tough decision, one that I've been faced with personally, and many others, regardless of what industry you're in. There's companies that provide fractional ownership to their employees in the form of options or other methods. So you need to think about, do I want to exercise my options, because it's going to cost you money. And the last point I'll make in an effort to wrap up this video, if you don't have some level of visual in the form of a spreadsheet where all of your finances are charted out with the actual item that is going out every month and the dollar amount associated with that, you should sit down and do that and put together all of these things that we just talked about based on your level of savings and your recurring investments or bills and debt and all these things, and make sure that they're spreadsheeted out so that you have really strong visibility and you can sleep at night knowing, I have X amount of money and I have X amount in expenses every month, and I have the ability to last or live this long given this economic period that I'm in. If you have $10,000 in the bank and it costs you $1,000 a month to live with all of your bills, which would be very nice, then you can extrapolate, I'm gonna have 10 months of ability until I really need, it's crucial for me to find a job or I'm gonna be in trouble. I'm gonna have to start a big garage sale at that point. So chart that all out, your current income or your economic unemployment benefits, your savings, anything like that, and then map it against your expenditures on a monthly basis so that you have a peace of mind knowing where everything fits in your budget. So I want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. Until the next finance or DIY video, I'll see you later.